Hello, my name's Kevin Delaney. I am head professional here at Thaden Boyce Golf Club. Today we are going to be looking at your driver and more specifically how to hit more fairways. Remember guys, that if you like what you see today, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so that you know when these things are going live, and please feel free to leave any comments down below. Also feel free to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down if you like. Thank you. Right, so yesterday we looked at, did a video and we were looking at driver distance to make sure that you can try to hit the ball a little bit further. You know, feel free to try and put a link on it, but look back at that video if you want and then you can see. We're going to recap over one of the things that I did yesterday. So, you know, centeredness of strike is a very, very important thing with the golf shot. So, the reason for that is something called gear effect. Now, what is gear effect? Gear effect is whenever you strike the golf ball, that it's always going to want to return to the middle of the golf club. So if you maximize your shot would be to hit it perfectly out the middle of the golf club, it flies off and then it will have the optimal sort of spin and flight characteristics that you're looking for. Gear effect is where the ball tries to return to the middle of the golf club. So assume that you make a strike that's out of the toe. What's going to happen is as that ball strikes the golf club, it's going to try to roll towards the middle. So then that's going to put a lot of draw shape on it. Similarly, if you hit the heel shot, you're going to see the ball rolling towards the centre, so that's going to put a bit of fade on it. Also, obviously, low and high strikes in the golf club. Low's going to put, if you thin your driver, it's going to put a lot more spin on it, so it's going to roll that way. That's going to balloon up in the air and not get the optimal distance. Hitting it at the top of the golf club will do the roll towards the middle and reduce backspin. That's probably the one that in the summer, that's not such a bad thing. If you can catch it a little bit higher centre, it's not the end of the world. It will reduce backspin on the ball, and then when the ball lands you will actually get a little bit more bounce and roll perhaps, but it's riskier. It's much harder to do. It's far easier to stand there and just try and hit it out the middle of the golf club. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of impact tape on the golf club there. I'm going to hit a shot and then we're going to have a look at it. Okay, so a nice and straight shot, but where did I hit it? Okay, so it is, in fairness, a little bit out the toe of the club, a little bit high, a little bit toey, so it's going to see perhaps a little bit more shape than you would normally get. So what can you do in your game to improve that? I'm going to give you a quick tip here. So, okay, so what I've done is I've put a head cover just slightly on the inside of the ball there, so to get the sensation that I want to push the club forward, to make sure that I try to avoid that. It's far easier to say to somebody, try to avoid that, don't hit it, than try to work on centeredness of strike and stuff like that. So just put something in the way and think, right, I just don't want to hit that. I've used a head cover, you could use a bottle of water or something like that. Right, so I'm going to hit the shot and let's see where that goes. Okay, yeah, so definitely closer to the middle of the golf club, which is fine. Now, the same thing will work if you see that you're hitting consistent heel strike. Put the head cover on the outside of the ball, and then you'll find the middle of the golf club a little bit easier. The next thing to make sure that you're doing, you know, as you've corrected or made sure that you've worked on centeredness of strike, is to build up the consistency of the shot. Now, I've put a couple of markers outside the ball, so there's a ball just short of the teed up ball on the outside and one on the inside just long of it, so it's making sure that you can avoid those two markers. Now, we've worked on centeredness of strike, and this is going to be about making sure that you swing it on the most efficient swing path so that it's nice and neutral. Definitely the biggest fault that I'd see is an outswind swing path leading to sort of pulls, and also like if the club face is open to the path, then you're going to see those slices, and that's when you're going to have an inability to control your shot. So putting the markers on the outside, you can swing through and make sure that you hit the ball. Now, what I would encourage people to do is set up as normal, but then just do some very simple basic swings, making sure that you're trying to avoid the two outside markers. I'm not even talking about a full swing here. we're trying to generate a little bit of feel and a little bit of feedback to make sure that your path is correct, and therefore you're going to make better swings. All that you need to do for this exercise is some waist high to waist high swings, making sure that you avoid the outside markers. So set yourself up, waist high, and a perfectly straight shot. And then it's about increasing the length of the swing. So if that was waist high to waist high, the next swing might be a little bit further to a 3/4, to just beyond 3/4 to full. Making sure that the follow through mirrors the backswing, and then you should see consistently that the ball's flying straighter. You're not necessarily putting in full power, it might take a little bit of time, but start hitting the ball straight, just doing some simple swings, and then as you start to swing longer, if you start to see the ball deviating off, of course, wind it back in again, and then shorten up the swing to make sure that that's straighter, and then keep going until you get to the point where you can do some full swings where you're hitting the ball nice and straight. Listen guys, I hope that helps with your game. Please feel free to leave any comments down below. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and come back tomorrow, because we're going to be doing another video on your driver.